Perfect. So we are live now on YouTube. Very big namaskaram to all our guests, our doctors, our listeners, everybody viewing us today. A big namaskaram. And we all welcome you to Dr. Bakshhi's Bakson's Homeopathy Flower Remedies webinar. This is one webinar that I feel is most needed by homeopaths today, and they must know about flower remedies. Even if you're a doctor, a practicing doctor, or somebody who's interested in flower remedies, you must know the power of these remedies and what they can bring for the customers, the patients, and the people going through so many mental conditions today. So before I begin, I'll give you a little bit of an introduction. I'm Dr. Taniyaa Bakshhi, and I am a BHMS from Bakson's Homeopathy Medical College, and I lead Bakson as the Managing Director. Flower remedies are very close to my heart because my mission this year has been to educate more and more homeopaths about it. Being an author, a researcher, I strongly believe in the power of these flower remedies and what potential they have for the future. Moving ahead, I will now start our presentation. Let's begin with also letting you all know that Dr. Bakshhi was the brain behind Bakson and is the brain behind Dr. Bakshhi's flower remedies. He's the one who's made sure that flower remedies are given the recognition it deserves in India. Number two, also given the economical strata of our country, he has made sure that these remedies are economical and affordable by people. Earlier, these same remedies produced in the UK first are very, very expensive for Indians to procure. So he said, why are we not making quality flower remedies in India for more Indians to procure so they can have more benefits on their mental health? And that's how our journey started on flower remedies. These are much more affordable. Just a simple remedy like this is what you'll see out in the market, and of course very, very affordable compared to the prices abroad. And of course we would love all of you to know that we absolutely are very proud to make in India. Moving ahead, we all know about our legendary Sir Dr. SPS Bakshhi and how much he has given to Bakson and our entire group. Just to let you all know, we will start now our presentation and we'll take all your questions at the end. So if you're watching this webinar, please save up all your questions or write them on the chat box so we know your questions. So when we talk about flower remedies, let's know a little bit of history about it. Flower remedies started in 1900s, early 1900s, when Dr. Edward Bach, a doctor, practicing in the UK, he was also a pathologist, a bacteriologist, and he also made our bowel nosodes. But what happened is, when he made our bowel nosodes, then he came on to the study of flower remedies. He realized the potential that the mind had over body. In fact, this one incident I'm going to read out. He definitely had an inkling towards how the mind was powerful, because when he was once treating the soldiers during wars at that time, he realized that when he had more power mentally to deal with the stressful scenario, he was able to power through. In fact, even in his medical condition, he was told that you have very few months, and he said that if I put my mind on this, I can definitely live it out longer. Second, he started smelling these flowers on the area, the gardens, the hills that they had, and he noticed that it was a very calming effect that these flowers gave him. Then he started studying them and found the much beloved Bach flower remedy in the UK. Even now, there is a whole institute that is aligned with it, and Dr. Edward Bach remains a visionary for all of us. He created 38 flower remedies, and the 39th one was the 5-flower remedy. Why? Why did he create one extra remedy? We'll find out here. Moving ahead, what are flower remedies? Flower remedies are essentially remedies made out of flower essences, and Dr. Bach discovered them while smelling them in the garden, also while treating soldiers, as I told you. Mainly belonging to United Kingdom, even till now, they have a very strong recognition in Europe and very well practiced. But here's what I want your homeopaths to know here. We all believe in psychosomatic medicine, and we all believe in knowing that medicine today, if given with mind and body sync, can really create a positive impact on our patient and have a good impact on their health. The prognosis definitely becomes better, and that's how we treat our patients as well. And that's exactly what Dr. Bak picked up. He realized this theory was exponential and he wanted to use this. Again, the germ theory, if disease states that when a pathogen is exposed to two humans, why is it that only one person falls sick and the other is unaffected? Due to this internal war and emotional balances and lack of harmony, he found out that if two people get sick, are exposed to a pathogen, why is it only that one person falls sick and not the other? He realized the potential of having a very, very weak emotional imbalanced state, and how if you have a weak imbalanced state, you have a low immunity. If you have a low immunity, you're more susceptible to diseases. There's a street vendor recent example I want to give here. In the rainy season, we often in North India see typhoid, and I'll tell you why we see typhoid. Because of contaminated water, people eat a lot of street food here in northern India. And the problem with that is, when I saw a few patients come in, patients who had eaten from the same street vendor did not procure or have the infection. One person out of those, all those people who had the street food had the infection. And I noticed one thing, that person's stress level was far more, which became a very good susceptible option for the pathogen to enter. And that's where even now I will say, if there are emotional imbalances, the person will get affected and their immunity will be lower than what it should be. Moving ahead, some basic questions, some basic remedies and some basic questions I'm going to answer here. What are flower remedies and why are they used in homeopathy? Just give me 1 second. Thank you for your patience. I sound better. Why are flower remedies used in homeopathy? Flower remedies have healing vibrational energy. So if you've ever studied plants, you'll know that every plant has a healing vibrational energy. And that is what transforms into medicinal value as well for us as homeopaths. Each remedy is associated with a basic human emotion. So all these 38 remedies that Dr. Bak created made sure that each of these remedies are given on a different emotion. So this remedy large, I'll give it to a patient who is low on confidence. I'll probably give holy to somebody who is very, very angry. Or I'll probably give olive and elm to somebody who is extremely exhausted. And that is the difference, I will say, between all these remedies, because they have a different reason for why each of them should be prescribed. The psychosomatic use of medicines is denoted in homeopathy, and healing on an emotional level, according to Dr. Bak, unlocks effects on other levels. You know, there's a very interesting theory called German New Medicine, which I feel all of us homeopaths should know about. And it states that if you have any imbalances on your mental health level, it'll come on the physical health level as well. And if there are emotional level changes which are positive, they'll affect on the emotional level changes being positive on a good mental level, they'll affect the physical level as well in the body. And I'll show you and I'll tell you a few examples of German New Medicine as well. Moving ahead, 38 remedies, I'm not going to cover all of them. I'm going to cover clinically whichever remedies are important, and I've used most of them in my clinic and how I've used them. So clinically, in which conditions I've used which flower remedies, and I'll tell you why. As homeopaths, we have more than 1,000 remedies. We have more than 1,000 remedies with all of us. And remembering all of them is not possible, of course, right? Now, when I say concentrated remedies out of these 38, we'll be concentrating on just those that I've used clinically myself and I've seen great results. And I hope to use the others as well. But I've seen some great results from this, which you homeopaths could definitely see in your clinics as well. Moving ahead. What are some health concerns where flower remedies can help? Anxiety due to exams, visit to doctor, big work meetings. Often when we have anxiety as a main symptom, we think of aconite, arsenic album. But why not flower remedies? When you have anxiety, when your patient has anxiety, I want you to think about something like red chestnut or something like 5-flower remedy, because they are massively good for anxiety issues. Massively good. My 5-flower remedy, I'll show you some clinical examples, is amazing for anxiety. Secondly, exhaustion because of caring responsibilities. For caregivers, for doctors who are constantly treating patients, this is a great, I'll say, rubric to prescribe on in terms of exhaustion. Nurses, doctors, mothers, any caregivers. Load of workplace stress. I've even prescribed the 5-flower remedy for stress and it's had great results. Lack of sleep, insomnia, passiflora is not the only medicine that can work. Menopausal symptoms, definitely having a lot of low moods really impacts our mental health. That's why you can prescribe. Redundancy and tiredness you can prescribe on. Traveling anxiety on planes, trains, cars. Pregnancy, I have prescribed 5-flower remedy. In fact, I have prescribed it just before the delivery and it's really worked for us. Exam and interview stress, I've also done that. Moving ahead, coping with physical illness and more. So if your patients often have physical illnesses of skin, of headache, migraine, you will often find that they are going through some or the other stress. Please note that and start prescribing homeopathy flower remedies complementary to that. You'll see results that are better. Are flower remedies even homeopathy? The basic question, and what is different about them? When Dr. Bach made Bach flower remedy, he basically made it with two methods. One is the sun method and one is the heating method. Sun method, he took the plants, he made sure that human's hand did not touch the plant, because he said that if human hands touch the plant, the medicinal value goes away. Then, creating a leaf, he basically put all of them so that the human touch was not there and put them in a bowl with water with sunlight. That's the sun method of creating an essence. And then further it was used in dilutions. When you create dilutions, homeopathy is there. Homeopathy comes when you raise potencies, create dilutions, and it has a very good impact. In India, we are very proud to say that we have introduced flower remedies in a very, very educative manner. And we're very excited to see all our doctors from the southern of the country to avail this knowledge, because you stand to be extremely educated. What is different about these remedies and why should I prescribe them instead of my traditional polycrest remedies? Are these rare? Are these remedies that I should prescribe? How long should I prescribe them for? The difference in these remedies versus other remedies is they act faster. They act extremely fast. Unlike other remedies where you'll see slow action coming in a week or two, I've seen actions in 2 days and it gets better. Further, how to use flower remedies in clinical practice. I have dispensed it in both. I take these dilutions if I want to give it to my patient in pills. I take the dilution I have, this is large 30. I will take it, I will put it in the globules that I have, and I will dispense it further. My only request is if you're using globules, use them in a glass container. Not just for these, but general homeopathy also. Any patient who gets all these globules, or if you're dispensing them, plastic vials have microplastics in them. So please avoid them, because they not just hamper your medicinal value, also at the same point of time, you're making your patients ingest plastic. So no plastic, only glass for good quality, even for dispensing in globules. You can very well dispense them in globules, put them in your mixture of globules, and definitely go ahead with it. Can we dispense it in dilution? I've done that as well. So in few patients, I have prescribed in globules and in dilution both. So supposedly I'm giving one remedy in dilution and one remedy in globules. It really works and it gives you a comprehensive effect. Secondly, can we use 2 flower remedies? Yes, you can use. I've used that in cases where I see anxiety is present but also low on confidence. Then I give large and I give 5-flower remedy. Similarly, I've used 5-flower remedy and passiflora together for relaxation and sleep. Really works well. You can either give them separately or mix the two on you, but I personally prefer if you give them separately. So you give passiflora mother tincture for sleep and you give 5-flower remedy together. So you give them like 8, 9, 10 p.m. 10 drops each, and sleep comes automatically. In both 5-flower remedy you can give it, and in passiflora. Moving ahead, can we give it with other homeopathy medicines apart from flower remedies? Yes, you can. I always prescribe in PCOD, PCOS cases my 5-flower remedy for one reason. If you study PCOD, PCOS, you'll always know it's never on a physical level. It's always on a mental level. So your hypopituitary axis is affected. And that causes definitely your hormones to not be balanced, further leading to problems and creating cysts in the organ. But if you carefully see, it's stemming from the brain. And that is where we need to press on more. So I any day prescribe 5-flower remedy with whichever other remedy I want to prescribe for menses or lack of menses or delayed menses. I will prescribe that, but I always prescribe 2 remedies together. There's no problem doing that for flower remedies and for normal homeopathy remedies, the polycrest ones that we use. Please note, flower remedies are safe if you can use them as complementary, as therapeutic, as single dose. You can use it the way you use it in your own clinical practice. I'm not against or for any kind of practice, to be honest. Today in India, we are doing therapeutic, constitutional, single dose. We're doing various remedies, right? And we're doing various ways to prescribe these remedies. I will only say I do all of them, and I'm very proud to say that the clinical results that I'm getting are very good. And that is what ships your boat. Please do that. Moving ahead, who all are using flower remedies? You know, you'll be surprised it's not just us homeopaths who are using flower remedies. They are flower remedy practitioners who proudly call themselves back flower remedy practitioners. They are also people who are allopaths who prescribe them, psychiatrists, psychologists, everybody prescribes them. That means the world of flower remedies is big, and we homeopaths must educate ourselves. Are all flower remedies the same? Can we use it for all age groups? Yes, you can. You can use it for all age groups starting from, I've seen 2 years also I've given it. I've also given it to somebody in geriatric care. So definitely all age groups work. Are all flower remedies the same? No, they're not the same. There is difference between mimulus and aspen, but both are prescribed for fear. And I'll tell you how. How do we prescribe and on what emotions? We prescribe on the emotion that is most prominent. So, you know, if you've seen an onion, a layer of onion, a patient will always come to you like that. They will come with not 1 but 7 emotions. And you will have to ask them again and again, what is the most pressing emotion? If I have to tell you the most pressing issue right now, what is it? And the patient often will conclude to just say it in 2 lines, I just feel exhausted. I feel exhausted. Or they'll say, I just have lots of fear. Apart from all these emotional disturbances I'm having, I just fear things a lot. When you get down to just 1 or 2 symptoms that are coming repeatedly, I want you to take that up and I want you to prescribe on that. I'll tell you how. So if there's a patient coming in who's constantly saying, I feel exhausted. Yeah, but there's so much going on in my life. I'm sad. This has happened. The XYZ. But I'm exhausted. Think of olive and elm. Read them. OLIVE and ELM. They're excellent for exhaustion. Moving ahead. Let's talk about clinical condition of fear where I have great results apart from arsenic and aconite. This is what you need to know. Mimulus and aspen. Not just me, but doctors in Delhi have come and told us that these remedies, when given in fear, have had great results. And be it a child going to school and having tummy ache because of the fear of going to a big school, or be it an adult dealing with a stressful scenario, or just simple dark fear, fear of cats and dogs or cows, or fear of going through something again, trauma, this remedy works. Mimulus addresses specific fears where the cause is known and can be named. So mimulus is one remedy you will give, and please, if all of you can write down in your clinical notes or whoever is listening, write it down. It will help you a lot. Mimulus is given in known fear. When you have a fear that's known, like hospital, illnesses, lifts, pain, children who feel scared going to secondary school, you know there's a known fear. Aspen is designed for fears which are unknown. Doctor, I fear something, but I don't know what that fear is. That's when you'll think of aspen. So both remedies should be in your kit, because mimulus is for known fear, aspen is for unknown fear. Sometimes you see in panic, people will fear a lot. I fear delivery. I fear delivery pain. You know it's a known fear. You can easily prescribe mimulus. When it's an unknown fear, when a patient gets frightened and ill, think of mimulus. So the patient is getting frightened and then getting ill. Dr. Bach said, think of mimulus. Again, aspen is designed for fears with unidentifiable causes, often that are unknown fears, and that is what you can see ahead. Moving ahead, this is just one of those cases that I've seen. It really enables people to engage more comfortably in social scenarios and situations and conquer fear without being judged. I even prescribed it in cases where people have social anxiety. So I mix 5-flower remedy and I mix mimulus if there's a fear of going out and meeting people, and then I prescribe and I tell them to sip it in their vehicle before they meet greet people in social situations. Aspen, I've told you. Red chestnut, fear over concern of others. Now, when we talk about the fear remedies, this is the most common we'll see as homeopaths. When there is fear over concern of others, these are mothers who are overly concerned about their children, helicopter parents. Doctor, something bad will happen to my child. Doctor, they'll go abroad, they won't be safe. I don't think that'll happen. Anything for over concern for others, you can very well think of red chestnut. Helicopter moms, obsessive parents, caregivers, doctors, almost like carcinosin, like a doormat carcinosin we study in homeopathy, almost like that. But concern over others makes them fearful and gives them anxiety. This remedy assists individuals in this state by enabling them to project calm and unworried thoughts towards their loved ones. So if you have a even family member in the house who's constantly worried and concerned about others and is spoiling your mindset, please give them this remedy. It really works. Fear over concern of others. Marked is red chestnut. These fears are essentially normal concerns but are heightened to a degree where they negatively impact the well-being of the individual, being worried about and undermining their confidence and self-belief. Often you'll see these people will make themselves sick because they'll worry so much about the other person, they'll make themselves sick. Often people who can't deal with detachment also I've seen works there. Let's talk about fear. Summarization. Mimulus is for remedies and for people who have known fears. Aspen for unknown fears. Red chestnut for fear over concern of others. Moving ahead, clinical condition of introverts, shyness in children. Parents come and they often discuss that my child is very shy and it doesn't open up and doesn't talk much outside. Here you can think of this remedy, water violet. Water violet remedy is designed for individuals who naturally prefer solitude and a more independent lifestyle. But this solitude soon makes them lonely, makes them isolate from their social scenarios. Here's where they want to maintain their personal space, but at the same point of time, they'll end up feeling lonelier. And these are people who want to be social but can't be social and have fears, social anxiety. Think about these remedies. Water violet. This remedy aids in softening this emotional barrier, allowing individuals to reconnect with others and enjoy the company of friends without compromising their need for solitude. I have seen that children who become very, very shy often bottle up emotions. This remedy will help them become less shy. You can see a patient come in the clinic and they will not respond. A child will not respond to you. And that's shyness. If once or twice, that's shyness. And you can see the introverted nature of that child. When you give this remedy, the child starts opening up. And that's a case that you can solve then. Clinical conditions of low esteem, low confidence. This, I have to say, is one of my favorite remedies for one reason. It works. Low confidence and self-esteem is not just in children, it's also in adults. In social scenarios, doctor, I don't feel confident enough about my exam, about my job, about where I work, about everything. And that low confidence, think of larch, really works. I tried larch and rock rose together because rock rose is something for very kind of panic scenarios and it really helps you. So what happens in these people is, because they're low on confidence, in people who have low self-esteem or confidence, they often end up in scenarios where they end up feeling bad about themselves and get into terror or panic quickly. So I give them both together. And these remedies help build courage and confidence and get over insecurities I've seen. Children or adults who say no a lot and give up easily. I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't do that. I'm not good enough. This really helps people break away. In one clinical case, I remember, we gave this remedy for male sexual disorder. So it was premature ejaculation I actually gave it for. And the problem was that the patient came in and he said, I'm low on confidence. And I have this extreme terror that because of my low confidence, it's going to impact this area of my life. And this terror situation really, I feel, was one situation I could sync larch and rock rose together. And it really worked well. In fact, rock rose is one remedy in 5-flower remedy as well in the composition. That's what I was talking about. In pills, I gave larch and rock rose and 5-flower remedy to build courage and confidence back again. Because this person was so low on confidence that he would say, I'm low on confidence and I get anxious and terrorized very quickly. That's why I prescribed this. And it really worked. Really worked. Better than most tonics in the market today. Better than or anything I will say. This really works. And imagine I could give it in a case like that of sexual wellness, which even more reminds us how important mental health is, and to be confident and having the right mental strata is. Clinical condition of procrastination. Procrastination and laziness, of course, this is one remedy parents would love, because children are mostly lazy. And most parents who came up to us, they said, children don't get up on time, they don't prepare for exams well, they don't study, they procrastinate, we'll do it tomorrow. Laziness is marked. Think of hornbeam. I want you to think of hornbeam. It is a great remedy for all of you who think that you have a child or an adult in your house who is lazy. Give it to them. Give it to them in drops. I really suggest that. Give hornbeam to them in drops at least 2 times a day and see the magic within 1 week. You'll see a difference. It's easier to stay in bed or to put off making a start or find other things to do. But if an effort can be made to get started, the weariness will fade, is what Dr. Bach said for Hornbeam 30. To shake off that Monday morning feeling, not feeling like working, not feeling like doing stuff, this is what you need. Moving ahead, clinical condition of anger management and rudeness. Also the spelling we might need to correct later. But holy is one of those remedies you will see. You know, anger is a very superficial emotion. For all you homeopaths or researchers who are here, they will know that anger is basically the top of the iceberg. But if you go down and deep, you'll see anger has a lot of emotions. It's a secondary emotion. The first emotion is always hatred, envy, jealousy, hurt, or even sadness. And anger always comes on top. So when we prescribe for anger, you'll probably see these people opening up a lot. And that's a beautiful start to begin with. So holy for hate, anger. Just right now I gave it to a mother for her child. And she said, my child is so angry that she said, just go to the office. Just leave me alone. Don't come. Just go away. And that, you know, was really remarkable for me, that a 5-6-year-old child is saying that to the mother. That means the child is angry and hurt that the child doesn't have enough time with the mother. And when I gave holy, I've recently prescribed it, I do potentially see her getting better and to come in terms with her emotions. I've also prescribed it for other cases where children have a lot of anger, and it's really improved their anger. Even adults who have anger, think of this remedy. Really works. It helps them open up to the emotions that are actually there instead of just anger on top. Mother-in-laws, angry husbands and family members are marked for anger. Clinical condition of depression, low feelings, anxiety, postpartum depression. You know, in postpartum depression, we always think ignitia natremur. But we have to go above all this. You know, grief is not just ignitia and natremur. Here, I really urge all of you to think of mustard. Mustard 30 is one remedy marked for depression. If you're thinking that in postpartum depression, women go through a lot, give them mustard. Mustard works extremely well if given 2 times a day, 10 to 15 drops. Moving ahead, you can always give all these remedies in a very different format. So I give them in pills and in 15 drops each, morning, evening, 10 to 15. But other practitioners who practice with flower remedies, I've seen they give 20 drops 3 times a day. They don't give in pills. They say, ma'am, we have faster results. So it is the way you want to prescribe them. But I urge you to try them. First you try them in dilution, then you try them in pills and see the effect. Of course, everyone faces occasional sudden gloomy feelings, but when you're feeling down, to bring back joy in life, mustard. I prescribe it to patients who also say that I feel very low at times and I don't know why. Mustard is your remedy. Perfect. Mustard and gorse given together also works very well. Gorse I've given for sadness. Mustard also I've given for depressive feelings. Gorse is really marked when there's no hope. So gorse is one remedy is marked, gorse 30, for no hope. If you have no hope to do anything, that's when gorse comes in and mustard comes in for sadness. Both combined together work very, very well. And also you can give them 3 times a day also. It depends how and severe your patient is. Moving ahead, clinical condition of OCD. beech, crabapple. These are a few remedies that really come to my mind when I say about OCD. And OCD is one such condition I've seen that is very, very rare but marked. So you'll see patients with obsessive compulsive disorders coming, doctor, I want to clean my hands all the time. I want to wash my hands all the time. Doctor, my child only does this way. They don't accept things easily or just want to do the things that they want according to them. Just compulsion to do things their way. Even a small simple example of OCD could state they want everything to be in a certain manner. If there's this liquid here, it has to be here. You know, things like that. It can't be moved. Proper arrangement of everything. Rigidity. Think of beech and crabapple. Patients are too critical about themselves and others. Rigidity mentally is marked. Think of crabapple and beech. I'll tell you the difference between both of them. Crabapple is when I've seen patients are very negative and have a lot of criticism. Doctor, my skin looks so bad. Everything looks so bad. This what looks so ugly. I'm so ugly. And they have very strong rigidity about others as well, crabapple. So they'll say, why is this like that? It's so dirty. I want it to be perfect. Beech is also similar. But beech is more about having very rigid notions. So I would rather say that in beech, the remedy encourages the positive potential to see the good in others despite imperfections, to release right attitudes and build a sense of compassion. Ideal when meeting people you know who get under your skin. Maintain a sense of tolerance. So beech you can think of intolerance, and crabapple if there's acute criticism. Think about it. Both combined together work excellent for OCD. Excellent. In fact, not just me, our local team, they came back to us and they said, ma'am, there was a case where the person was washing their hands 3 times a day, or 3 times an hour, sorry. And slowly when given this remedy 3 times a day, their intensity reduced within 1 week. And I said, how did you give the medicine? They said they took the dilution of beech and gave 10 to 15 drops 3 times a day. And it reduced. And the patient said, yes, marked improvement was there. Moving ahead, clinical condition of Down syndrome. You know, with trisomy errors and genetic disorders like Down syndrome, most doctors don't know much about it, which is where I think you all should know that Down syndrome is one such problem that's becoming very prevalent because of genetic mutation. And those of you who do know trisomy 21 and the problems that come with Down syndrome, the child has a very different structural condition. So what happens is their airways are shorter, they are more obese, more prone to infections. All these things are there in Down syndrome. Why I'm saying Down syndrome again is because it's very rare. Doctors don't get these cases much, but it's increasing. And in Down syndrome, you'll always have a child who's very cranky because of their physical makeup. You'll have a few emotional disturbances. You'll have them not lead life at a full potential. Recently in a Down syndrome case, I noticed there were 2 twins, one with and one without Down syndrome. The one without Down syndrome slept 8 hours at night. The one with Down syndrome could not sleep because of constant stress in the body and the mind. And if the child doesn't sleep, they will not recover. When a child doesn't recover, they will not be able to lead a healthy life. And I said my first forte is, while I'm giving you medicines for cold cough for this child, just make the child relaxed with this remedy. And the patient got back to me that, ma'am, yes, the child slept longer. And most people come back, ma'am, is it addictive? Are 5-flower remedy addictive? Is it addictive? Or is there any problem? Will I have to give it all throughout life? It's not. It's not addictive. You don't need to give it all their life. It's not even something you need to rely upon for all your life or weeks and months. But the beautiful part is when you give it, it shows some great results. And they're not super dependent that you'll be there on it all your life. So I recently prescribed it and the child slept better, which helped regain more and more strength. I definitely feel the more the child sleeps at night, especially like a 2-year-old, 1-year-old baby, it helps them recover faster. Brain development is faster. Even in geriatric care, I give 5-flower remedy a lot. Here 5-flower remedy helps to relax and works well and helps them get better sleep, improving cognition, REM sleep, further enhancing their brain activity. Moving ahead, Clinical condition of PCOD, PCOS. For most of you who know, stress is a very big causation for PCOD and PCOS. If you've learned in German New Medicine, it deals with loss conflict. And loss conflict is beautifully explained by various authors. And they say there is kind of like a vacuum or in a woman's life where they're going through a betrayal, going through problems, and suddenly they'll develop PCOD. Going through stress at work, they'll develop PCOD. Think of 5-flower remedy in pills. It'll help relax their system. The 5-flower remedy is a combination of 5 remedies that includes impatience, rock rose, and these are some great remedies that help the mind relax. Moving ahead, clinical condition of trauma. This remedy I feel is rarely used, but it's good enough. PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Trauma just keeps on repeating and repeating and the patient keeps living it. Star of Bethlehem. It's the perfect remedy. Traumatic experiences post-death when the person is in shock. Think about this remedy. And even think about this remedy in emotional damage or shock after a breakup or after an acute family emergency. Trauma after COVID really flared up. Think about that and think about Star of Bethlehem. This remedy can be used instead of ignitia and natrimur as well in grief. Put this and then you can start with other remedies if need be. Star of Bethlehem is a natural flower remedy designed for those in great distress under conditions which for a time produce great unhappiness. The shock of serious news, the loss of someone dear, the fright following an incident, such like. Clinical case of ADD, ADHD, hyperness, impatience. This ADHD problem, if you've seen, is more common now. ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, for 2 reasons was unknown in the past. Number 1, it was never diagnosed. People, researchers, doctors never had that much information. Now they do. And now when ADHD is being diagnosed, people straight away go for allopathy. And that I feel we can make better with treatment of ADHD or ADD, attention deficiency disorder, with a remedy called impatience. I'll read it out. Impatience remedy is suitable for those who like water violet individuals tend to be inclined towards a solitary lifestyle. ADHD, child confused, you can also think of scleranthus, but I feel like when you talk of impatience, hurried thoughts in ADHD, hyperactivity, there's no patience. The person can't sit down. Constant movement, constant thought, there's no patience. Especially in cases of ADD and ADHD, I want you to think of impatience. They work massively well. And moving ahead, the child makes the same mistake again and again. I'll share about these examples in a while, the scleranthus and the chestnut bud. But the preference of solitude arises from finding others too slow, leading to a desire to move at one's own pace. You know, people who move very fast, hurried, almost like naxwamikas, have anxiety, constant movement, constant stress. Think of impatience. I used it myself. I'm somebody who's extremely impatient, and I've seen some great results in my nervous system. Moving ahead, this lack of patience can result in irritation, tension, signaling the need for impatience remedy. For symptoms of hyperactiveness, lack of focus, too many thoughts, classic ADHD and ADD, lack of concentration, use clematis and impatience together, or white chestnut and impatience, and you'll see some great results. White chestnut because there are too many thoughts in the brain, and impatience together. I personally give clematis and impatience for those who lack concentration. It's a great remedy. Clematis, impatience for those combinations where they lack concentration. Clematis is just for concentration and to improve that. Impatience is for hurriedness. Combine them both together, give both of them either separately, but give them together to the patient. Massive results in ADD and ADHD. If you get too many thoughts in the brain, think of, or the child gets them, which the child does get in ADD and ADHD, white chestnut and impatience. I want to tell you about scleranthus also. You know, often you'll have in autism, children become slower. ADHD, children become faster. In autism, the children will become slower and they'll always be confused. How should I do this? Should I do this or not do this? They'll become slower. Think of scleranthus, always confused between 2 choices. Confusion in mind all the time. Think of that for autism. Child makes the same mistake again and again and again and again in writing, in learning, in simple problems, think of chestnut bud. You know, we often say, the child is not writing right, or he's not writing enough, or he's not learning enough, he's not remembering things. Again and again, he's making the same spelling errors. Think of chestnut bud. It'll really help you. Impatience, I've told you for patients, this is one study. Impatience and tendency to rush through tasks, he would often finish his classmates' sentences and take over group activities, displaying signs of irritability and restlessness. This is a very common example you'll see. They'll want to immediately finish stuff and do it themselves. They will talk fast, eat fast, sense of urgency is there. Think of impatience. Heather, for extroverts, you'll often see patients who don't stop talking in the clinic. They will want to talk to you for hours, and your ears will soon start bleeding. For those patients, for extroverts, I want you to think of Heather. Heather 30 is one such remedy because they seek out company and they feel very lonely. I just prescribed it for somebody. It, I feel, has great potential to impact the mind, where it really actualizes their emotions and doesn't reach out for company or validation as much. You know, they always crave to be with somebody. They can't be by themselves, or they can't be alone, and they feel lonely without somebody to talk to. Think of Heather. These could be your local aunties who talk on the phone for hours. I feel like this could really help them empathize and listen better. In moments of loneliness, because they talk too much, they get socially isolated. Heather individuals may become excessively talkative, seeking out anyone willing to listen. And this remedy can very well be used for people who talk too much, who have overexpression, who are complete extroverts and exhausted and feel isolated. Think about this. Heather, empathize and listen to foster connection in a talkative child with Heather Flower Remedy. Imagine a child who constantly wants attention, wants to talk, constantly craving attention, just talks all the time, talks over the adults or the parents or the doctor. Think of this. This behavior, while stemming from a desire for connection, led to a sense of isolation as others began avoiding her. This could be a very marked rubric. You know, we see anxiety a lot in clinic nowadays because everybody is anxious. Everybody wants results quickly. We have limited attention spans. This is where I needed to think of, in anxiety neurosis, something like 5-flower remedy. You know, you must be thinking, why do you give 5-flower remedy so much? And I myself went back to Dr. Back's studies, and I noticed that when he made this combination himself, he chose the perfect remedies for a mind to relax. Often in clinical conditions, I don't have the time to think about a lot of cases, a lot of problems, and you just want to prescribe so that the patient calms down and realizes what they're going through first and talks only about the things that are completely important. First, I make them calm down. And also, I'll share a very good example with you. In northern India, there's severe rains. I'm sure in southern India as well. I had a patient who Dr. Bakshhi was treating, and this patient was shivering outside in the waiting hall. She was shivering to the extent where I knew that this was a stage before the fever. And my first instinct was to give her the 5-flower remedy. I gave it to her, a few drops in water immediately, and then Dr. Bakshhi said, give her eupatorium perf, because eupatorium perfoliatum, because she's shivering. It's kind of like a breakbone fever, high fever coming in. Immediately give that. Shivering is marked. And by the time we could implement and give her the eupatorium perfoliatum remedy, we had already given her 5-flower remedy, and her shivering immediately stopped. Immediately stopped. I made her sip it, it stopped. Further, I did give her eupatorium as well because she was shivering and getting a high fever slowly. But I'll tell you how fast this acts. More so, in other practitioners who practice with 5-flower remedy, they told me sometimes they've had reactions where they burned their hand and they don't have cantharis in hand. So what did they do? They put their hand in water. In that water was 5-flower remedy. Why? Because that instant reaction shock that comes, the person calms down from it. When a person is calm, the body is also calm and can think logically. They've even used it for things like burns, and I was shocked how beautifully it's been used. The 5-flower remedy works to quickly bring a sense of calmness, stability, emotional balance during challenging situations. It's a combination remedy. of cherry plum, clematis, impatiens, rock rose, star of Bethlehem. The 5 remedies really make it one of the topmost remedies, I'll say, across the globe. Moving ahead. Clinical case of insomnia. When passiflora 1x, 3x, 6x, even mother tincture fails, think about giving passiflora with 5-flower remedy. I often ask my patients, do you get sleep at night? Do you sleep enough? I give 5-flower remedy for them to sleep. 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m., 10 drops in water with or without passiflora according to the patient's condition, and it helps them calm down. I'm taking throated again because of long periods of speaking that we're not used to much, but definitely really helps. Exhaustion, which also, by the way, has a cult following. And this combination is one combination which my patients get back to me and they say that it really helps stop me from getting a fever. I said, how does throat aid help you from getting a fever? And she says, every single time I have an infection, it comes on my throat and I get a sore throat. When I take this, the sore throat is not there. So the infection doesn't culminate in the body. And that's when I realized it actually works. Again, I have another remedy for insomnia, or another thing that you can try. Patients who feel exhausted all the time, olive and elm. Elm and olive are prescribed differently. One is for feeling exhausted physically, which is olive. One is feeling exhausted mentally. Elm is when you have too many responsibilities mentally or bogged down. You know, I'll tell you a case where I gave elm. I had a patient who was a female and she was giving exams. She was mentally overworked. I gave her elm and I gave her larch so that she could perform better because she was lacking confidence and she was exhausted. And it really worked for her during exam time. During exam time, I'll say don't give olive and don't give 5-flower. Because if children get too much sleep, they'll tend to sleep in their exam, and that's something we don't want. Again, 5-flower remedy, a clinical case, a 16-year-old faced intense anxiety, stress during exam periods. The pressure to perform well and the fear of failure led to sleepless nights, irritability and difficulty concentrating. This is where you could use this. You know, we even went to the extent of using 5-flower remedy in pills and in drops, and we want to further get out 5-flower remedy tablets as well. And I'll tell you why. When a patient is hospitalized, they often have so much anxiety of what might happen that every levels of theirs are elevated. For most of you who know, stress will elevate your cholesterol as it is. So the right thing for us to do is to immediately give them 5-flower remedy so they can calm down. Unlike other patients who are going through anxiety neurosis, I'll definitely say this could be one remedy that could help them taper off their anxiety medication. To summarize, clinical examples personally used, I have used so many flower remedies, but these remain my top few. 5-flower remedy, anxiety, palpitations, lack of sleep, worry, acute travel sickness. For all of you watching, you can even take a screenshot of this. Accidents, acute death, shock. With 5-flower remedy, you could think of Star of Bethlehem for shock and trauma. Elm for exhausted people in workplace who cannot do more. And children who are exhausted from studying and working hard. Hornbeam for laziness, marked laziness. Mental strength is lacking for concentration. For concentration, also there is another remedy that I told you for that as well. So please keep that in mind. Because hornbeam is not just for procrastination. I also feel clematis and hornbeam given together can work magic, because clematis is for concentration, hornbeam is for procrastination, which when given together for patients really works. And long exam hours, elm and hornbeam, procrastination marked, give that. Mustard for postpartum depression works well. Crabapple to purify the wounds, feels cleansed, feeling unclean, OCD, wants perfection, need to embrace perfection. Then moving ahead, walnut, change in lifestyle, city, country, graduation. Walnut, you know, I gave in one case where the child was graduating from primary school to secondary school. And the child was so anxious all the time. It kept telling the mother, you come with me to school, I will not be alone, I will not do this alone, I want support. Classic calcarea carb I felt that time. But I didn't want to give calcarea carb because I knew this could be solved. This was more of a mental issue than just on a physical plane as well. I simply gave walnut and I gave 5-flower remedy. why did I give 5-flower remedy? Walnut I gave for change because the child was going through a certain change in life, changing schools, right? And 5-flower remedy I only gave at night so the child could sleep because the child was so anxious. Work together, the parent comes back to me after 2 days and says that my child goes to the school himself, I don't need to go anymore. And that was a big win. You know, just with 2 doses, just 2 days, the child became better. I gave drops morning, evening, child became better. You could think of walnut and you could think of fear also. You could think of known fear of going to new school. Think of or going to school and having no fear generally also that something bad might happen, something might happen. Think of aspen also. So walnut and aspen together also work really well. Gentian for people who feel discouraged too quickly, obstacle disheartens them. Yeah, and I think that's it. Yeah. Crab apple for people who feel unclean all the time. Crab apple I also feel for cases that are skin related. Use them for it. When patients come and say my psoriasis looks so ugly, my pigmentation looks so ugly, use crab apple. Works very, very well. Or when patients come and they say that I feel not good enough. I feel very, my skin looks ugly, my skin looks dry, my skin looks dark. You know, people come up and say all kinds of things about their body. And that is something that is wrong. I feel like patients should know and people should know that they're perfect in their own way. And that's where you could prescribe crab apple. I've really used it for patients who just come and say, I've got swelling, I've got swelling, I've got swelling, when they've got no swelling. Crab apple works really well there. Yeah, I think that's it. Moving ahead, we'll take up questions now and stop our PPT because we'd like to take up some good questions from all of you. And please let me know about the questions further. And you can always connect to us on these pages so we can help you in any manner possible. Superb, we've got lots of questions. Thank you. Useful program, thanks. During shock के केस में मैं अपने क्लिनिक में यूज़ करता हूँ Bakson का 5-flower amazing result. Sir, thank you. Shock में ना ये भी यूज़ करना आप 5-flower remedy you can use and you can use Star of Bethlehem. Great results in shock and trauma. And dosage repeatability, you can very well repeat it, Miss Beena Wilson. You can repeat 5-flower remedy dosage according to the feasibility of the practitioner and the patient. And I'll tell you how. I've given this remedy for a week and then stopped it because I felt like it did give a great result in a week and I didn't want to give it further. You know, that's when you could think of these remedies. And repeatability is also just a concern where I feel like sometimes if I want to wean it off, I'll go from the dilution, I'll go to pills. That works, you know. Moving, oh, you have so many questions. I'm starting from the middle. I should start from the top. You should give soft copy of Backflower. You know what I'm doing, Dr. Kirti? I have notes prepared, one-liners. So what I'm going to do is give one-liners and I'm going to make a book out of it. And I'm going to give it to all our practitioners because we don't have the time to read everything. So I'll make a summary book out of it and I'll definitely publish it by this year. Moving ahead. Yes, they can definitely procure it. The material that you need, you can definitely get it on our pages. You know, all of you who need books, please note we have a detailed book already. I'm going to summarize and make small pointers for all homeopaths to understand and prescribe and create like a desk thing for all of us to keep. That'll be much easier. Good idea. Medicine for OCD. OCD again, think of beech, think of crab apple. I think beech works very well. Give 10 drops 3 times a day. And if they have criticism of others marked, then give crab apple marked. Or you can also give both. You can give crab apple in pills and beech in dilution. Beech 30 we get. Yes, study material you'll get. This is great. Healthcare previous slide. You'll get all of these slides here on YouTube live. In fact, it's recorded, it'll be here. So you can just check all of this here. But we'll also mail you the PPT. So you can enjoy and read at your own pace. Moving ahead. Thank you, Dr. Anis. That's very kind of you. ADHD I did. ADHD mein, it's marked. If you have Impatience and clematis. Impatience, then impatience and clematis is marked. It works very well. Yeah. And you can always give something else in pills also. Depends on the symptoms of ADHD. Every child is going through different symptoms of ADHD, you know. Like some ADHD children have a lot of anger, so I also give them holy in the middle. And often practitioners ask me, can we mix 2 remedies together by ourselves? You can very well do that. You can mix more than 2 remedies also. But I won't suggest mixing more than 3-4 remedies together because it's a lot. And we don't know how it can impact the patient after a certain time. After 7 days, you don't want to give so much medication. Very interesting question. Noted. Backflower remedy for ADHD. I just shared ADHD. Impatience, clematis, all these work really well. Really, scleranthus, chestnut bud, all these work really well. I've also told you how to use them. In fact, I'll upload them on my Instagram also for all the practitioners here. I'll upload them on my Instagram also, how to take when, what to take. Affecting balance and stiffness. Stress affecting balance and stiffness, I don't have enough symptoms, but I think you should start using 5-flower remedy. It really works. In pills or in dilution, morning and evening. Hyper blood pressure and depression, thank you. See, when you talk about hypo and hyper blood pressure, I will not prescribe you anything without knowing your medical history. But if you still just want to try something over the counter, you can take some patents that are there. They are very well in the market, like BP aid. But remember, with hypertension, you are not to reduce your allopathy medicine by yourself. For only one reason, it could cause a stroke and further lead to further complications. Depression, think of mustard, think of gorse. They work really well in dilutions 3 times a day. Yes. Dr. Kapil, whatever samples you need, please email them to our team. We'll be happy to send you some. I'm attending YouTube. Leaflets also, yes, we'll be happy to send the entire booklet to you that we have. We've already given the kit about 6 times, I think the last year, and a lot of doctors have kits. But if you need any samples, please ask your local representatives to get in touch with you and give them some samples. And give you some samples, in fact, and they can just write down your list. No digital certificate received of last. You'll definitely get it, Dr. Asad. Just connect with our team. In fact, our team is probably writing it down, right? And they'll get it back to you. Ms. Priyanka, can you write down Mr. Asad's query? And please email us. We're as responsive as possible. Not sure of getting a certificate. Thanks. Yes, there are so many. In fact, we're now thinking that for all doctors who've registered, we'll give you a copy of this on mail as well, right? Actually, this webinar is mainly for our beautiful doctors from South India because they asked for a webinar in English, and hence. Juvenile diabetes, I do not prescribe much. Depends type 1, type 2. But in cases of juvenile diabetes, I do not prescribe much. But for diabetes, I mainly, general diabetes type 2, I mainly definitely give them the Diabet drops, Cesium jumbolinum, because it always works and gets their blood sugar levels down. Also, you can always think about what is causing there as a child in juvenile diabetes, what is causing that condition, get back to the mother's history and see what is causing that condition to get worse. So what is the condition that's was prominent in the prenatal history or the natal history or during pregnancy, what was the mother going through mentally, and then you can prescribe for juvenile diabetes as well on that emotion that the mother was going through. Yes, all PPTs will be sent, literatures will be sent. Is batch remedy good for, see, pancreatitis and pancreas calculus? I do not suggest flower remedies. They're mainly for mental wellness and mental health. Moving ahead. Yeah, all of you have chronic diabetes, any backflower? No, backflower doesn't work in diabetes. Diabet drops, Cesium, Taniyaa, coagulants, all these 3 work very well, and they're all available on Bakson. So work very well. In fact, I've reversed diabetes type 2 in my clinic with diabate drops, Cesium jumboline mother tincture, and Taniyaa coagulants, which is a supplement. And it remains like that even when you taper down the medicine. Of course, exercise, weight loss, diet change is required. Yeah, can help. Alzheimer's. It depends. If you have Alzheimer's symptoms of forgetfulness, can do. If you have Alzheimer's symptoms of constant anxiety and anger, mood changes, yes. Lack of sleep, yes. What are the symptoms that are there, and I can help you? Anybody who has doubts, send me your questions either on Instagram, I'm very much there, or on mail here, or just on YouTube. I'll help you understand cases. I've worked with so many homeopaths together to solve their cases. I'm more than happy to do it for you. Thank you, Dr. Prabhu. This means so much to us. Can try this in my practice if study material. Yeah, definitely, Dr. Manpreet. Why don't you tell your local representative, and we'll give you some noted samples. It's orange alert in the area of South India where I live. Noted. Seen patients with suppressed emotions of guilt deep down. See, for guilt, you'll have to understand what emotion they're going through. Guilt is something that is a thing of the past, right? They're guilty about something. But what is that emotion making them feel? So guilt, trauma are things that happen to us. What is it making them feel, Deepika? Guide me on that. Text me on Instagram. DM me, I'll reply to you. Henna, it worked well, Shobana. Thank you, Shobana. Impatience works excellently. Acha webinar hai. Thank you. I'm using cherry plum for nocturnal enuresis. Actually, for nocturnal enuresis, I gave creosote, cinna, and for fear, I had a medicine. Cherry plum, I don't know for what reason you might have prescribed, but you might have prescribed well. But I don't fail in nocturnal enuresis with creosote, cinna, and your mimulus for fear, if there's fear marked. If there is. Any kind of mental emotion, prescribe on them immediately for remedies. Thank you everybody. Dosage, I told you, repeatability as well. Person who cannot want to bathe and neat clean. Laziness marked in these people. Doctor is Ujjwal, doesn't want to bathe, wants to be dirty. Think of Hornbeam, lazy all the time. And think of the emotion they're going through. Walnut works excellently for homesickness. Perfectly for homesickness. Go for it. Anybody who's going through change. We often give walnut to people who are going through hostels. Works very well. Came to know what are different symptoms of different remedies and what part of emotional level effect. Dr. Bach, like any other doctor, also studied these on a very emotional level. So while there's no keynote, there's no materia medica made for these, they were very well researched enough for all of this literature to be available to all of us today. They were researched not once but multiple times. In fact, just because it's not in India, we don't know much about it. But because it's so well practiced abroad, everybody's doing it. That's why this is so popular in Europe, right? Difficulty to adjust in new situation, don't even think, just give walnut. Walnut 30, 3 times a day. What potencies? You know, in chronic cases, definitely think of 30. We were just discussing with our team and we realized 30 potency always works. 6 cannot, and that's why we're also emphasizing on 30 potency works. And unlike homeopathy, there are not many remedies above 30 then here. Okay. So many questions are coming back to back. I've lost count of where I was. Told you this. Can we use walnut for homesickness? Yes. Thank you, doctor. Potencies, diabetes with mentally worried about diseases. Mentally worried about others' diseases or their own diseases. If there's just anxiety marked, think of 5-flower remedy in pill in dilution, because you can't give pills to a diabetic person. Think of that. It really works. See, why I always get back to 5-flower remedy is because you'll understand once you give that, the anxiety will calm down and the real emotion will come out, and then your second prescription can change. Rock water is also good, but I don't use it as much because I've never felt enough need to use it in my practice, to be honest. But it's good. Thank you, doctor. This is there. This is the weak memory in children. Weak memory means lack of concentration. Lack of concentration means clematis. Clematis works very well in children. Clematis, and I also feel like larch. Add clematis and larch together because they also then lack confidence, because you know, once you have a weak memory, you always doubt yourself. Give it together. Pimple remedies, I usually give acne to my patients, the tube to apply and the medicine to have, and a very clean diet chart. Please share stress balancing effects, balance and stiffness. I've already told you about that. Instagram ke bhi hain. We're answering all of these. Doctor, can it cause aggravation? No, the best part about flower remedies is you will never see aggravation. You will never see aggravation come through. Unlike sulfur, थोड़ी dose दो, उसमें भी डर लगता है. This graphitis, no. This remedy never causes aggravation. And even if you repeat it without fear. You can repeat it. There's no aggravation here. Of course, don't give it for months and months altogether. It'll create proving. I guided you, Dr. Ruchika. Pills, dilutions works very well. Even in your blankets, like the briskets you guys use, some people use, go for it. But I only use dilution and pills because that I use in my clinic. It works excellently. ADHD, I've told you, remedy. Persons whose acne and rashes, it doesn't want to bathe, I've told you. These remedies thoroughly proved. Yes, in fact, just because we don't know about it doesn't mean they're not proved. So because we've only heard about Materia Medica, right? We've only heard about them, all these remedies in our Allens, our Boric, our Kent. We've not heard about these. They're very well proved. Very well proved. And I think more research material on it is coming through. Even through HPI, I feel like it's just going to boom in a couple of years. Remedies through proved clinical, whether, yeah, remedy is for kidney. None of these are for kidney diseases. I've told you how the remedies are prepared. Flower essences are converted to dilutions, and further these dilutions you can see. Essences are basically created from either the sun method or the heating method, depending on the flower. If it's very delicate, the sun method. If it's not that delicate, the heating method. Unlike percolation and maceration. Thanks, suggestive books. Because I personally will send all of you, I'll publish a book or a summary this year so that all of you can note it. But we'll also send you all a sample book on mail. When can we think of flower remedies and homeopathy? What do you mean? When can we think of flower remedies and homeopathy? I didn't get your question. So, see, because they were made homeopathically in dilutions, they became they became remedies. So, a 5-flower remedy has cherry, plum 30, impatience 30. These are dilutions, right? This is not a mother tincture. So, it becomes dilution itself. A 5-flower remedy is a dilution in itself. It's not a mother tincture. Recently, I have got the complete set of Bakson flower remedies. Yes, Prabir, Samantha, if you need any help, please feel free to reach out to me. On Instagram, anywhere, mail, possible. Can we give walnut for homesickness? Yes, can do. Not feeling content, always comparing yourself to others. Let me open my notes for you and help you. You know, also you could think of why they are feeling the comparison. What is wrong? Like after the comparison, what is the emotional state they're in? Because you're prescribing for that, not for comparison. But still, I'll help you here. I think here, when you think of comparison, think of people who are insecure. If you see people who are insecure, they lack self-confidence also, and they're not very sure about their opinions. Here, you could definitely think of remedies like Serato, because these people are those kind of people. Also, you could think of remedies like Century, Centuari. So ask your patient what they're going through. If they're not feeling content, Century will make them believe in their opinions a lot more, in their notion a lot more, in themselves a lot more. Obesity has no medicine. It has exercise as the biggest medicine. Rock water is a flower remedy. Can you believe that? And rock water was actually made with just spring water. And spring water has natural potential to heal the patients. It's a flower remedy. It's actually classified as a flower remedy as well. Even I was shocked at this, but it's actually a remedy. Can we think of flower remedies in psychiatry illness patients? Yeah, full on. I give it for all my patients who are going through psychiatric illnesses. I gave you all of them here. Depression, anxiety are marked. You could think of all these remedies here. Yes, action of liquid is 10 times faster than globules. Over talkative, Heather. Just don't even think about it. Too much talking, Heather. Any good remedy for IBS? Yes, IBS is mostly mental. How can I prescribe a constitutional remedy with one symptom? I can't do that, right? That's therapeutic practicing. And first, so don't think about constitutional here when you're asking me just IBS. But any good remedy for IBS? I have used 5-flower remedy in pills, and then I give them, because they have constant anxiety to go to the toilet, I give them podophyllum, arsenic, whichever one I want. And then I combine my 5-flower remedy for sure. Why do I give it in pills? Because I want a slower reaction, and I know that when the person's relaxed, the anxiety to go to the toilet and IBS will not appear. Worked well with a lot of my patients. 5-flower remedy is amazing, Dr. Kirti. We're so happy to hear this. Madam, some people say that 1 drop of medicine is enough for getting instant relief, but others say 5 to 20 drops per day required to get the relief at least once used. Okay. In children, small doses, even globules work better because they don't need that much stimulation. Adults, faster people who need faster action, go for dilution for sure. How to select potency? There is only one potency now. We usually have 30 and 6 both because Dr. Bakshhi wanted to give variety to practitioners. But now we're only launching 30 because we want more and more people to know about the power of 30 dilution. Diabetes, I've mentioned a lot of remedies. Mental calmness, think of 5-flower remedy. Very useful. Thank you. Very nice explanation. Obstruction, classical. See, is it obstruction to classical homeopathy? See, this one thing, I'll be very honest with you. Hand on heart, in India, there are practitioners practicing in various ways. There is a Dr. Seni method where they're practicing with one hair strand put in medicine. There is therapeutic, there is constitutional, there is combination. And I will not judge one better than the other. I will always say that today, the way homeopathy is transformed in India, all of them are working the best according to their capacity. And as long as it's helping your patient and not harming them, that's what is most required. If you're getting good results in your clinic, whatever you're doing, make sure you stick by it. I've seen so many practitioners use flower remedies complementary to their main remedies. So many people use biochemic salts or biochemic medicines with the original remedy, right? I've mentioned autism and ADHD as well. Self-confidence. I've mentioned for self-confidence as well. I've just mentioned a remedy. Larch is the perfect remedy for self-confidence. For patients who are not with vitiligo, who are very thoughtful, who are also have are very critical about themselves, you can put remedy of vitiligo, but also put crabapple for their mental health. Self-confidence, fear of unknown, larch. Fear of unknown, aspen. Thank you. Walnut be better. Yes, walnut great for homesickness. Yeah. Crabapple is great, everything and anything. I've seen doctors prescribe crabapple and warts get off automatically. Can you believe that? They act as thuja in some cases. So that works really well. Monica, in whatever capacity you want to work with us at Bakson, please email us so we can help you. Lycoderma, don't give Lycoderma for flower remedy. Think of what emotion the person has in Lycoderma or vitiligo. If they're too critical about themselves, think of crabapple. They start accepting themselves. The journey of healing will be easier for them, right? IBS can do, give your constitutional whatever you want, and on the side you can very well give 5-flower remedy. 5-flower remedy and olive are two remedies that induce relaxation. So you might say, when I've given 5-flower remedy, it induces sleep, because when the person is relaxed, it might give them good sleep as well. Thank you, Dr. Ranjana Raj. Thank you, that's very kind of you. To be compared to noble people like that, it's absolute an honor. Dr. Geeta Kumari, Licoderma Flower remedy, please guide. See, there's a Licoderma medicine, you can give Bakshhi oil for application, crab apple you can give for mental health, but you'll have to give your normal remedies that you give for Licoderma in your clinical cases. Your Vespa, your Tucrum, these are the remedies that people give also. Licoderma, all of you asking me Licoderma. Remedy for rheumatoid arthritis, I give Pentafos, 4 tablets 3 times a day, because the minerals are gone. Absolutely, it helps with stiffness and pain. Then I usually give, I think, D11 drops that are for pain. That's what I give. And rheumatoid oil and rheumatoid tablet really works. If need be, tablet if need be, because it's a lot of medicine. Rheumatoid oil for application. I've given these cases for in pregnancy, in infertility. Depends on the emotion that you're prescribing, please. Any medicine suggestion for bleeding on and off, blood vessels, break off easily? Hemamelis, think of hemamelis, so many medicines in phosphorus, hemamelis, there's so many of them. Various medicines of bleeding. If you actually Google or you actually see that various medicines of just bleeding. Depends now what type of bleeding, color, everything. But I think hemamelis always works for me. Hemamelis, even in bleeding in periods, works. Nose epistaxis always works. Please guide some information about Licoderma. Licoderma, I told you Vespa Tucrum, you give, 30 I give, and then I give crab apple if need be for the patient. But remember, Licoderma only has results very well in children. In adults, the results get a bit slower. They do come, but they come in time. Be prepared. Bakshhi oil can be given for application. And physician, infectious disease is effective. Infectious disease, what is the emotion? That depends on that. Kidney disease depends on the disease. Would you please repeat this webinar in Hindi next time? Yes, can do. I used holy in case of insecurity of mother-in-law from her daughter, as she wanted her husband getting attention. She couldn't get. Yes, I'm so happy to hear this, Dr. Seema. Thank you for this webinar from Hyderabad. Thank you. Boost memory due to overexertion of mind. Think of elm. Think of elm immediately. Miss Dhruv Deksha, think of overexertion of mind, think of elm immediately to boost memory. So many questions. I think we'll have to sum up quicker. Bleeding disorder cases. Don't be so blind in practice. Thank you. When action of liquid is faster. And how do we say? I give it in both. If I think that it needs dilution, then I give it dilution. If I think it only needs pills are a weaker case, stronger case is dilution all the time. Is there a remedy for genetic hair loss for men? For hair loss in men, I give Hair Reviver, AC9, the Jabrandi oil for application. My results are fab. I don't go back from these. I don't fail in hair growth for any case with this. Plus, don't wash your hair every day if you have genetic hair loss as a man. Of course, diet, exercise. Supplement in exam time for students. Use it, but don't give olive. Give large for confidence and clematis for concentration. Just that. Don't give too much also. Little in pills is enough in exam time. Can you prescribe crab apple therapeutically? Yes, you can. In fact, there are people using crab apple lotions now, and we might even get that in the future. Egoism. Depends. Egoism mein emotion kya hai? What's the emotion in egoism? I'm not a doctor, but I want to heal my family using flower remedies whenever required, hence attend the webinar. Himani, text me on Instagram. I'll help you heal your family also. Whatever you need, right? What is the difference between Flower remedy and electro homeo? Both have 38 medicines. I haven't ever tried electro homeo. I don't know what it is. But I remember a very senior guide told me there's nothing known as electro homeopathy, so please do not believe that. So that. How many days can we see results of? I've seen it in 2 days. 2 days I've seen a result. But give it for at least a week and then see the results. And remember, Thank you everybody. But remember that dilutions for a more severe case, adults, pills for a child always works. But you can also give dilution in children, but lesser dosage. If I'm giving 15 in adults 2 times a day, I'm giving 15 1 time a day in children. Let's get the Instagram questions rolling. You guys have way too many questions, but I'm so happy that this was so beneficial for all of you. Thank you. Hanji. Anxiety and palpitations remedy, 5-flower remedy, use it. Really works. You can use it in pills, put it in water. This is my water. This is how I'll use any flower remedy. I'll open the flower remedy that I have. I'll put it in water. 10 I've taken, and then I'll drink it. This is large, so I can very well take it for confidence to answer all of your questions. Anger, procrastination, postpartum depression. Postpartum depression, mustard from Bakson, flower remedies. Mustard I give, and I give gorse. Mix both of them in water, take it 3 times a day, because in depression you need it more. Postpartum, anger, procrastination. Procrastination you can give hornbeam. Anger, think of holy. Holy is amazing for anger. Anger management as well, HOLLY. How to prepare 2 remedies together. This is 30 ml. I take this and then I take 15 ml of one remedy, 15 ml of the other, and I mix it and give it. Simple. Mix it in a glass vial, you're done. How many days you prescribe? I prescribe not more than 10 days for this because the results are way too quick. So I don't prescribe as much. But if you have chronic cases, then it's different. Dosage and repeated IBS remedy, I've told you. You want to add arsenic, you want to add podophyllum, you want to add any other remedy that's gut related, you can. But I'll definitely say, because there's constant anxiety, add 5-flower remedy in pills and you'll see the magic in IBS with your other remedies. Then how many days? I've told you, can you take Mimulus and aspirin together? Yes! Mimulus, aspirin together also works fab. If you don't know what to prescribe, mix it together, prescribe. Dizziness and vertigo with tendency to faint. Dizziness and vertigo and tendency to faint is not covered in flower remedies. That's mostly an issue with either deficiencies or a neurological complaint or even weakness in the body, and they will not be arrested with this. But with dizziness and vertigo, I want you to immediately check your vitamin B12, hemoglobin, vitamin D, all your parameters, blood levels, and then we'll decide what dizziness and vertigo are related. Vertigo is a very good remedy. Cocculus indicus works very well in vertigo. Fear in vertigo, to go on top of the hills, Mimulus aspirin. Dosage and repeatability of flower remedies, I've told you, can be done for 1 week, and you can, I'll tell you an example. I repeat my dosage morning, evening in dilution, and if I want to give it pills 3 times a day, 3 globules. Overwhelming feeling like crying always, if you feel too sad and you want to cry all the time, I give pulsatilla because it's perfect remedy for this, and pulsatilla is also a flower, chamomilla is also a flower, and the beauty of them is they act beautifully on mental conditions. Pulsatilla, and because crying also has an outlet, I'll also give a bit of mustard with it, gorse. These are good remedies for feeling very hopeless, so they really help. Yeah, itni hai. That's it. Let's summarize, and thank you to everybody for joining, and we can't wait to do this in Hindi again for all of you who asked for it, and a very big namaskaram.